Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Super cool of you to tune in. But you know what's even cooler? What would make me even happier and smile much more broadly would be you sending the show to everyone you know. Send it to your mom, your dad, your siblings, your loved ones, your grandma. Give it a 5-star review. Send me a comment, a heart. Give it a 1-star review if that's what you think, but I know you won't because today's guest is Dr. Courtney Johnson. She is the female athlete doc on Instagram and the owner of 360 Wellness, which is an online physical therapy rehab space, and the owner of other businesses as well. Homegirl is a tried and true businesswoman, an entrepreneur at heart. We had a great conversation. I loved chatting to her about all things pelvic floor, business, her career trajectory, and all the interesting turns that it has taken. She's a wealth of knowledge, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy hearing from her. So please enjoy the show. Courtney, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Of course, one fellow podcaster to another. This is going to be a
Mhm.
good one, I think.
Yes, we have so much to cover.
We do. Tell me how you got into the pelvic floor space.
So, I always wanted to treat female athletes. It was always my thing. I grew up a female athlete and funny enough, I wanted to be an athletic trainer. And then I realized, okay, bad work-life balance. So I was like, okay, physical therapy is the next option and more autonomy. Sounds good. So then I got into PT. I always wanted to be that, like from high school. I kind of figured that out young. And then as I was going through school, I was like, oh, sports, ortho. I was always down for that. And really, it wasn't until I mean, the funny thing is I never wanted to be a pelvic floor PT, ever. You could ask all of my classmates, you could ask anybody that knew me. I would always, like, joke, like, "Oh, that's gross." Like, "No," you know? And I was really big into CrossFit at the time. And as a PT student, I was, like, training 2 hours a day. I was always working out with women that were older than me because I was what, like 24 in PT school, and a lot of the women that I was working out with were like 30s and 40s, and they were so strong and so fit, but they always talked about things down there that I was like, okay, what's going on? Like you guys are so strong, you're so fit, and you're talking about peeing with leakage and you're peeing with jumping and running and like, diastasis recti was a topic, like emptying your bladder before you would go and run or jump, like any of the workouts, like you just see like a flock of women just like running to the restroom and then like they'd come back. Everyone always wore like dark colored leggings and it was always like the topic of the gym. And in school at the time I was like, okay, that's weird. Like, why isn't anyone talking about back pain or hip pain? All the random ortho stuff. I'm like, come here, I can help you. Like, but that stuff I was like, I couldn't help you. And so after school, I was like, okay, it's time to get certified in pelvic floor because I'm missing something. Like, I can't really treat a female athlete to the fullest extent possible unless I get certified in this because so many women who have back pain, who have hip pain, who have knee pain also struggle with these underlying conditions in the pelvis that is unseen, is untalked about, like, it's all of this taboo stuff, and, like, even if they do talk about it, nobody takes them serious, and so, got certified in it, and I was like, "Wait, this is, like, a whole different niche, like, this is a whole ballgame," and then, I just started treating more and more people, more athletes, and I realized at that point, I was like, "Okay, this is kinda what my jam is," like, I'm noticing a lot of discrepancies between, like, female athletes specifically and pelvic floor health. Like, anybody can go to pelvic floor therapy, but a female athlete cannot just go to pelvic floor therapy, like, because it's the same treatment methods that a 70-year-old woman next to them is gonna get. And so that's where I found my niche because I was like, "No, like, these women need more, and they need, like, high-level care. They're not a 70-year-old grandma." And so that's kinda where my niche evolved. I'm like, "Let me be the gap," because the gap is where the biggest gain is always going to be, and that's where the most amount of females and athletes need that kinda care. So
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think a lot of people think of pelvic floor rehab as being something that is part of the athletic population. Like, I think you think of it prenatal, postpartum, and then incontinence with the older population. So that is cool that you found your niche. Did you guys learn about pelvic floor at all in school? Was that something that was covered?
Heck no. Yeah,
Really?
like 1 hour lecture. Yeah, we had a
No.
guest speaker come in from a hospital nearby who was a pelvic floor PT, and it was, like, maybe 1.5 hours total, and then they were like, "Okay, yeah, you can go take a weekend course if you want," and I'm like, "Okay." And at the time, it was in PT school, I was like, "Oh, I'm never gonna go do that, like, that sounds crazy,"
Yeah,
you
you're like,
know?
"It's fine if I don't learn about it because I don't that
Yeah.
won't be me."
Not my thing.
Mhm.
And then after school, I got a job and they were like, "Hey, we need you to get certified in pelvic floor. Like, we need you to do that." And so they kind of like pushed me to get to it. And at the same time, in the back of my mind, I was like always around these other athletes. And I'm like, okay, I kind of should. Maybe like I can help them, you know? I
Mm.
was big in the CrossFit community at the time. Like, it was like all I did. Like, I was training so often. I was like, I knew I want to help my friends. Like, let me help them. And so then that's when I got certified. But school,
When
nothing.
did you graduate PT school?
2020,
Okay.
middle of a COVID.
So yeah, fun. So, like, what do you think is the reasoning behind that? Because the pelvic floor is an integral part of pressure management. Working it's working alongside all the other muscles. Like, it's part of what you treat if you have low back pain. It plays a part into hip pain, into groin pain, pelvic girdle pain, like all these other things. So, why are schools not teaching this?
It's wild. It's funny because now my school has an elective. Like, you can choose to take a pelvic floor course for, like, a semester. And I'm like, "Now that's a thing.
Yeah, but even still, it's like,
Now."
why
Yeah.
should it be elective? It's almost like saying, "Hey, guys, we're not gonna cover foot and ankle, but you can choose to
Right?
take that." I don't know, I don't think it makes sense now.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not in school, neither are you.
Yeah.
Maybe programs have taken a different tune and they're a little bit more up to date on that, but I do think it's strange, the huge
Yeah.
gap there.
Well, it's kinda funny because, I mean, even in, like, anatomy, it was, like, so fast. Like, it was like, "Oh, here's the pelvic floor. Meh, next." And it was like, and you don't really dissect it in the cadaver lab. Like, we didn't dissect the pelvic floor at all. Like, you get into the glutes and you get into the hip flexors and you get into in the deep abdominal wall and the organs and all that. And it's like,
Right.
I didn't dissect the pelvic floor at all. So, I mean, I don't know. It's wild. Maybe it's because it's such a specialty. Like vestibular, which is also crazy because, like, even, like, vestibular, like, that was an elective that I ended up taking because I
Me
was like,
too.
"Oh, maybe I need to know more about vestibular," and I'm like, now don't see any of that. So it's just silly, honestly.
Oh my
But
god,
it
we're
was
the
a
Yeah, I took the vestibular elective thinking, I mean, just everyone's gonna have BPPV because that's how they make it sound when you're in school, like, you're just gonna come across it so many times, and I
Right?
didn't, and I think it's interesting because a lot of people graduate PT school going to practice in, like, a general orthopedic clinic, and I would say a regular patient that's coming in for just a typical low back pain, hip pain, or anything else probably has some underlying issues that probably relate to the pelvic floor more so than, like,
Absolutely.
the vestibular system. So, yeah, I just think it's
Yeah.
interesting. You call yourself the female athlete doc, which I think is cool. Do you treat specifically people that have pelvic floor issues? Are you finding a good crossover between, like, the regular orthopedic issues as well? What does
Both.
that look like? Both.
Yeah, both. Because I say that, like, if anything that attaches to the pelvis, I think a pelvic floor PT could really get her hands on. And I mean, there are male pelvic floor PTs. Like, I mean, just don't want to single that out. But I think that anything that attaches to the pelvis, I'm like, why not see a pelvic floor PT? Because there's probably some correlation going on between the abdominal wall, the low back muscles, the hips, the hip flexors, the glutes, all of that. Because if you're having a glute issue, you're having hip pain, hip rotator issue, range of motion, whatever have you, like, your pelvic floor is 100% affected.
Mhm.
100%. Your glute muscles lie in the pelvic floor. So there's always a correlation between the two. So I do see sometimes, like, mostly women that are like back and hip issues have gone to other PTs before, and I'm kind of like the second stop where it's like, "Oh, this is really not getting cleaned up, it's still bothering me," kinda thing. So I see a combination of the 2, but I honestly see a lot of pelvic floor, and we uncover orthopedic issues, right, or musculoskeletal, other areas, so
Okay. And are you fully virtual? Do you see people in person? What's the model there?
100% online. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
talk to me about being fully online. What does that look like?
Yeah, so when I stopped my job or quit my job in 2022, I took a travel assignment. And at the time, I was like, okay, I'm just going to start an online thing because I wanted to supplement what I was doing travel PT wise. Ended up hating that. 6 weeks into my travel assignment, my first assignment, I was like, screw this. Like literally F this. I'm not doing this at all. It was like 5 evals a day, like, and it's for like the biggest mill of the mills of PT. I'm not gonna name it, but like you probably know what I'm talking about. And I was like, "No, hell no. Like, I'm just gonna go online. I'm just gonna pour into this business." And I have always been somebody from PT school, like, always most of my life, I've always been somebody that's like, I wanna travel, I wanna do whatever I wanna do, and I don't wanna be stuck anywhere. I have this, like, free soul spirit, like, I don't know, I'm just, like, kind of like a independent person. I'm like, "I'm never gonna be tied down again." Like, I couldn't even get in a relationship. I was like, "Don't tie me down." And so I just kinda launched my online practice during that time in 2022, and it just kind of evolved into, I have to make this work. I had no other option at that point. I was like, "This is my full-time job now." I quit my travel job. And it really pays off for my lifestyle because I really wanted location freedom and time freedom and eventually financial freedom. So, because I now have location and time freedom, I build my business to work around my life, which allows me to have way more passion and availability and energy to pour into like an online community, making content, helping people, helping my clients. I can help them at all hours of the day. They get as many touch points throughout the week as they want. They get weekly check-ins with me. Like there's a lot of accountability available and like touch points and feedback, which I think is really awesome when it comes down to like women's wellness specifically. I think it's good for some niches online and not so great for other niches sometimes, but like for mine is very like specific. And women need just someone to like hold their hand and like be there with them and guide them and give them a plan to follow and hold them accountable to it, especially when they're in the thick of postpartum, maybe pregnant. Nobody's really looking out for them, but I could be that person that's looking out for them and checking in with them once a week. So for me, it works really well. I've grown my business like far and wide by doing it over the last 3.5 years now, and I'm just happy doing it. So, I always go back and forth, of brick and mortar, but my boyfriend, he owns it. We have a brick and mortar, and we have 2 locations, and, we treat sports ortho in downtown Phoenix and Scottsdale, and he does it for us. I'm like, "You got it. You got it." And I help him with the marketing and stuff like that, and he's like, we should go together, and we could just, like, blow this up and do, like, sports and all this." And I'm like, I really like being home, I like being with my dogs, I like being able to do whatever I want, and so,
Yeah.
I get the best of both worlds with it, but I always, like, joke, I'm like, "Johnny, I should open a clinic." Like, I would love to open a clinic, but then I'm like, I just it's a different beast, and it's so much more energy to pour into a clinic, you know?
100% it is. I can definitely speak to that.
Yeah.
So is he's a physical therapist also?
Yes, yes.
Nice.
So he opened his business 2 years before I did. So he opened his business in, like, March of 2020.
Bold.
So he's been going yeah, and he stuck it through, and he's been going since then, yeah.
Well, let's go, Johnny. That's pretty
That's
cool. So
yeah.
then you've been doing online since 2022. I
Mhm.
do feel as if even just over the past year, a lot of PTs have started to delve more into the online space. Has it changed on your end in terms of just like what the offerings are, what you're able to do, or has your practice pretty much stayed the same but just grown?
Grown. It's stayed pretty much the same. My core offer is one-on-one rehab coaching, right? I do some, like, challenges here and there and, like, just education things, and master classes. The thing about me that's different from, like, a lot of other PTs is I'm so big on education. So big, because when people are educated, they know better and they do better. And I'm a big believer in when you know better, like, you literally can start seeing differences in your symptoms without even doing things like exercise. Like, there's so many wellness aspects to life, and I feel like that's why my practice can do well online and grow because I don't just do physical therapy. Like, I'm literally looking at the whole person and I'm educating them on nutrition and lifestyle and stress and sleep and their postures and their toxic relationships. And like, there's so many avenues to getting like well and better that it's overlooked even in the physical therapy world because we don't have the time and the energy to be able to spend with these patients and educating them across all of these like different layers of healing than you would like maybe on an online platform.
Mm,
So my core
yeah.
offer is still the same, but it's deep and it's wide between, like, what we're able to help women with.
Yeah, you can cover a larger scope of topics
Mhm.
with these people. Like you
Yes.
were saying, there's unlimited touch points essentially with these
Yes.
patients throughout the week. I love that. I think that's pretty special. Uh,
Mhm.
I also think educate I mean, I'm huge on education.
Yes.
Even though I have a brick and mortar and I do see patients and we do the hands-on and I put them through exercises, I have this feeling, and it's not something that I could necessarily measure, but I just have the sense that most people are getting better because of the way that we're talking through things and because of what I'm
Yes.
telling them to do outside of the clinic. Because in
Yes.
reality, like, what is 1 hour or maybe 2 hours out of, 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week? It's not
Mhm.
that much hands-on with you time. So
Mhm.
really, the impact that I'm making is probably coming from all the other things that we talk about. And I feel like that's super impactful for pelvic floor patients because when you think about, you know, bladder habits, whatever you're doing throughout your day, how you're holding tension, where you're holding tension, that can be super impactful because if you don't know, then you just don't know. And just a quick
Totally.
just
Yeah.
like little tidbit of knowledge can really make a big
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
I love that you bring that up because I have, like, a 4-week challenge where I start it's literally like an educational challenge and I'm like a jump start to kind of like, "Hey, this is how you come learn with me for 4 weeks, come implement some educate or exercises and see how you feel, and then kickstart your healing journey, really." And I had a call what is today? Wednesday, Tuesday, last night, and I was explaining the pelvic floor muscles and kind of where they're at anatomically compared to like the pelvic organs. I'm like, okay, your bladder sits here, your bowel sits here, here's where your vagina and your uterus are. Did you guys know that all of these organs pass through your pelvic floor? Would it literally make sense in your mind if you had bladder issues or bowel issues and pelvic floor issues that they could all be connected? And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, "Did anybody ever explain that to you?" And they're like I was like, "Drop a 1 in the chat if someone has explained that to you," and crickets. Nothing.
Really?
There's like 50 people in the class. I'm like, "What?" And some of the people have already been to pelvic floor PT. They've been to their doctors. They've been given all these other solutions, and I'm like, "Nobody told you how integral how, like, connected those things are?" Is
Mhm.
wild.
It is wild, yeah. And kinda going back to the CrossFit thing, I was talking about this on a podcast recently. I had, my PT that I hired, she's ortho, but also pelvic floor, and
Mhm.
we were having this conversation about how common it is for women to just accept these symptoms, especially if you've had children, multiple vaginal births or C-sections, whatever it is, or even just as you age and the tissue loses some of its integrity, like, people just accept that these are symptoms that we have, like, "Yep, we're gonna have leakage. Yep, we get constipated." We don't there's just so many things that people they just live with it throughout their lives, and they don't realize that pelvic floor can help, and it's a little bit of a bummer, but I do think you're doing good work by just providing education to people. The fact that 50 people were in the class is pretty amazing. What do you say to people that have just been if it's a client that's coming to you and they've just been dealing with these symptoms for a long time, like, what's your approach to educating them?
Yeah. So usually it's going to start by talking about anatomy and physiology. Like I'm very big on biomechanics. I'm like, listen, this is the way God made us. I don't make the rules. Okay. This is what happens with your body when XYZ, right? When you're breathing, this is what happens. Your pelvic floor moves when you breathe. Your abdominal wall moves when you breathe. So I'm like, here's the facts. And then here's what's happening with your body. Can you see where maybe your body's misaligning with what's like natural, like what we're supposed to be doing? And they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Now I understand that these things are connected together. Whereas before, maybe they were told, okay, Kegels. Kegels is the solution. Just freaking squeeze your pelvic floor, which is like so asinine of an answer of a treatment method because it's like, holy shit, your pelvic floor is a part of a much bigger system. Why are we just going to train one part of the system? It's like having ankle pain and all you're doing is like squeezing your toes. It's like,
I've seen it.
what the fuck? Like, it's wild. And so usually I'm really big on just like, okay, here's what we know. Here's where you're at. We need to work on the coordination of these couple things and we can get back to what we know. And does it make sense if we fix those things that you could probably get back to doing activity symptom free, less painful intercourse, less bladder symptoms, less bowel symptoms, yada, yada, right? And they're like, okay, yeah. And they start to believe it because that's really what it comes down to. It's like if we can fix the system a little bit of whatever's going on in the system, we can also look at your lifestyle and figure out, are you bearing down on the toilet? Are you peeing 17 times a day? Are you peeing before you leave the house? Like, are you having all of these habits that are feeding into the system, which is causing havoc? So that's where I usually start. And then I start a lot on education of like true activation patterns. I'm like, okay, here's how you breathe, right? Here's how you activate your core. Here's what the pelvic floor should feel like. Here's how you activate your glutes. Because if you're not activating your glutes, your pelvic floor is going to get affected because it starts taking on the work of the glutes that the glutes should be doing. So there's some things that you kind of just like, I open their eyes to, and then like, I swear to you, it's not even that hard. It's like, it cleans it up so fast. It
Mm,
doesn't get them completely symptom free, but it gives them a head start where they're like, "Oh, wait, I just walked and I didn't pee." And I'm like, "Ooh, crazy concept, right?" Like, so it's really that simple, but you just have to break it down for them to kind of understand it and also see it. Because it's not like your shoulder where you can see it. It's not like your thigh. It's a pelvic floor group that you cannot see and really cannot feel unless you're up in there and feeling it. So once
right.
you show them a picture, a diagram, or a pelvic model, and then maybe like some, visuals online, like then they're like, "Oh, okay, I get it now." Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're obviously pretty big on education, which I think is, as we talked about, like paramount to being effective as a PT. But do you think, and I feel like I already know the answer to this,
Mhm.
like what you're going to say, but do you think that there are any limitations to being solely online and not being able to like actually palpate what the pelvic floor is doing? Or have the outcomes not really shown that that makes any difference for you?
For me, it was always the least helpful information possible. Like, when I started as a pelvic floor PT, I always told people, I was like, "I'm not gonna be an internal pelvic floor PT. I'm gonna
Hmm.
be a pelvic floor PT knowledgeable on the internal muscles, but it's not going to guide my treatment." And here's why. Because when I was doing that, sure, I would be like, "Okay, yeah, your pelvic floor is tight or, like, hypertonic." Like, I would palpate that and be like, "Yes, that is tight." But what does that tell the patient, right? Like, I'm like, "Okay, your pelvic floor is tight. Let me release it. Come back and see me 2 more times this week or, next week."
Mm.
Even when I did that, I'm like, "Okay, listen, your pelvic floor is tight. Here's what we need to do to downregulate it outside of this session," right? You gotta go breathe. We gotta get to move. You gotta go do some mobility. You gotta get your hips moving. You gotta go get your pelvic floor to learn how to relax when you're walking around all day. You're chronically clenching. Like, there's so many habits and things that people are doing that's making it overactive. And then I'm like, okay, now you're gonna go home and you're gonna go do this on yourself. And people are like, okay, like I'm gonna go home and do this. I'm like, yeah, you can't rely on me to release your pelvic floor muscles every single
Good for
time.
you. I love that approach.
What? Like, that's wild. Like, you're telling me you're gonna come see me every time your pelvic floor gets tight, right? So
Because then
my
you're creating
approach
dependency too.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
we don't need that.
women are autonomous as of nature, right? Like we got this. Like you can heal yourself, right? And so I was always big on, okay, go buy a pelvic wand or use your finger, have your partner help you. Here's the pelvic model, here's a video, you're going to watch it when you go home and you're going to go do it. And then they would go do it and they would come back and they'd be like, "Wow, I feel better." And I'm like, "You don't even need me. Why are we here?" you know? So for me, it was never the most helpful information. There are times when it was helpful, when it was maybe like a post op patient, right? A hysterectomy, maybe there's a prolapse repair, like very specific populations need some guidance because it can be very a fragile environment, if you will, like for them to think about. So there are times when I think it's helpful, but online, I'm really big and I've been doing this for so long, so I don't really recommend that a new, fresh pelvic floor PT starts out online. I think that you need a lot of repetitions and experience and go through loads and loads and loads of case studies. Where I'm really good at pattern recognition now. I know when people are experiencing a hypertonic pelvic floor versus a hypotonic based on the symptoms that they're presenting with. But also Everybody has a tight pelvic floor. Like, if we're being honest, like, most people are up trained. Like, they need down regulation. We live in a stressful environment, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
so many things going on. So I'm like, let me just down regulate first. I pretty much down regulate every single patient I work with.
I was gonna say, I did a clinical rotation, 16 weeks. I did 2 rotations actually in pelvic floor PT, and,
Yeah.
ultimately decided it wasn't for me, but
Mhm.
still have a lot of that knowledge, and I remember 95% of the cases
Yeah.
being, "Yeah, we're gonna learn how to relax, we're gonna learn how to breathe,
Yeah.
then we'll learn how to coordinate that breath, and then we will strengthen the pelvic floor," but it's gonna have to be kinda tiered like that because most people don't just have a weak, non-functioning pelvic floor. It's
It's
like
very like, it's very rare unless they have, like, an avulsion fracture or something, like,
Mhm.
it's, like, really rare that they have, like, just this, like, "Oh, yep, you are a 0 out of 5." Like, most people are a 5 6 out of 5, like
Yeah, they're resting at like a 3 out of 5.
Literally, right? So, yeah, I mean and now, like, I teach people how to do it on their own, like, I have videos, I show them on an evaluation, I'm like, "Here's the pelvic model, here's what you're gonna go do, blah, blah, blah." Most people are very comfortable. Most people don't wanna go get probed in a clinic, like, that is one of the leading reasons why people do not seek help because they do not feel comfortable with that. And I had so many women that were opt out of it, they're like, "Ah, I'm good, I don't need that." I'm like, "Perfect, we don't need to do it." Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I can still treat you, I can still help you without probing, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Are the majority of your clients now still kind of in that CrossFit realm, athletic realm, or do you see a wider range of people now that you're on the internet and reaching all corners of the
Wider
world?
range. Yeah, wider range. I see a lot of prolapse. That is, like, my specialty, is helping women with prolapse get back to running, jumping, lifting. I specialize in that, I would say. And any walk of fitness, I can help them get back to whether because most fitness is the same, right? We need to get back to jumping and running and lifting, like in whatever type of activity you do, whether it's Orange Theory, it's an Ironman, it's a CrossFit, it's all the same. I like to like, I have a lot of knowledge in all forms of fitness, Olympic lifting, powerlifting, CrossFit, like, running, like, I've done a lot of things myself, so I'm very like, gymnastic movements, I'm very knowledgeable in it, so I can pretty much help any athlete get back to the physical activity that they wanna be able to do, but a lot of it looks like, "I'm scared, I have this new diagnosis, I don't know where to start." I used to lift heavy, I used to be super active, I used to run, but I don't know what to do now, I'm postpartum, I have this new diagnosis, I have these new symptoms, or it's the opposite and it's, "Hey, I'm pregnant, and you talk a lot about prevention. What do I need to do right now? How can I prevent all these issues? How can I stay strong during pregnancy? And then can I work with you postpartum so I can do it right?" Like, so I see both sides of it, but a lot of the people that I work with are mostly from the athletic world, and I use that term lightly, like, everybody's an athlete, like, if you're physically active, like, and you love physical activity, like, you could be an athlete, it doesn't have to be
Right.
elite level to consider yourself an athlete. So, it's a lot of that, and it's fun. I love it. It's always different. I'm always helping somebody with a different goal, and it's never no 2 people are the same because some people have 10 symptoms and some people have 2 or 5 or whatever. So,
Yeah. What do you tell the pregnant patient that is just really coming to you for preventative measures? Because I myself was there not too long
mhm.
ago. I mean, I just kind of went about my business as normal and didn't really
Yep.
have any symptoms. I mean, I had, some pubic symphysis pain, the normal low back pain that you have, but then it kind
Mhm.
of went away. But yeah, I'm curious how you tailor things differently, if at all, for people that are pregnant.
Yeah, so not really. I mean, every pregnancy is going to be different for a person in general. If it's their first pregnancy, I'm really, really big on, okay, do we know what the core and the breath is? Do we know how to find the core and the breath? Do we know how to maintain it, especially as you get bigger? Posture education, just talking about like daily habits and daily lifestyle, making sure you're not bearing down. Like we're really big on like just preventative at this point for the first pregnancy. And then I'm really big on birth prep. I'm very, very big on pelvic floor relaxation. We gotta relax those damn pelvic floors. We're back to this topic again. But that's like one of the increased risk factors for perineal tearing, instrument assisted, right? Need of induction. Like there's a lot of things that can go like opposite way of what maybe you want during birth because your pelvic floor is not down regulated. and we store a
Yeah.
lot of trauma, we store a lot of tension in the hips and the pelvis. It's like, we got to get the pelvic floor on board. The pelvic floor does not push that damn baby out. Please stop. People think their pelvic floor has to be so strong for birth, and I'm like, "No, she needs to be mobile. We need her to be mobile.
She needs to
That's all
move,
we need."
yeah. It's funny, I
Yep.
posted a video that, got a lot of attention, after I'd already given birth. This is literally weeks later, but I had been filming content about like, "Hey guys, this is what I'm doing to open up the pelvis and get things down regulated for birth," and people were commenting and being like, "She doesn't know what she's talking about." Like, of course, she says that she's never given birth before. I was like, okay, well, I had a really
Sounds
good
good.
birth, so I don't know how much of the exercises put into that, like, definitely I have already a very good baseline level of mobility, but come on,
Mhm.
like, of course it's
Yeah.
gonna play a part into it. So, it is funny
Yeah.
what the internet will tell you and what you'll see in the comments, but
Well, I'm, like, looking forward to the day that I, am blessed to be pregnant and that happens. I'm gonna be like, "Alright, guys, gotcha.
yeah, let's get
Sounds
into
good."
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you still CrossFitting?
No, but
No?
I just signed up for my first High Rocks last
Oh my
night.
gosh, where at?
It's here in Phoenix.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, your girl is out of shape. I have some cardio base to build. But I haven't been doing CrossFit since 2020 really since I moved across the country. I moved from Missouri to Vegas, and I was kind of sour. Well, it was also 2020. So like CrossFit gyms weren't a thing. Like they were kind of like far and few between. I moved to a city outside of Vegas that like didn't have a CrossFit gym, so I just like stopped, and then I moved to Vegas in like actually September of 2020. So there's a large period of time where I wasn't doing CrossFit because I didn't have the equipment. So I kind of fell out of it, and then I just started like bodybuilding. And then towards the end of 2020, I'm like, I don't really feel like going back. Like, I'm not injured, I'm happy. I started working full time, so I was like, I have to wake up at 4 a.m. to train now. Like, I work 8
No,
to 6
yeah.
every day. Like, so it was just a different lifestyle. And then, like, I just got further and further from it. And I'm like, I feel great. I'm not going back to that lifestyle. Like, my body was shit. My recovery was shit. I was always injured. Like, just a lot. I was inflamed. And so I just found a new type of fitness, right? Like I signed up for a half marathon, so that was cool. I did that.
It's
I just
awesome.
kind of dabbled in a lot of things, and now I dabble in a lot of things. But my friend was like, "Hey, let's sign up for High Rocks," and I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And now it's in 13 weeks, and I'm like, "Shit, I gotta train now." But
Mhm.
it's
High rocks
fun. Like,
is yeah. It's
yeah,
like taking the nation by storm. I feel like,
yeah,
um, my CrossFit gym is now a hybrid High Rocks, and I do feel like as
yeah,
CrossFit kinda is on this sorta downslope, just I think nationally, um, High Rocks is kind of on the upswing. I mean,
yeah,
everyone's doing it.
yeah.
So,
And I feel like a lot of people are pivoting from CrossFit to it, and just
yeah,
like,
100%. It's gotten a lot of the CrossFitters into running and into cardio. So, I mean, I think that's
right,
kinda cool. I think I might
yeah,
do one. My sister wants to do one, so maybe I'll dabble in that.
yeah. Come to
I'm like
Phoenix.
you. I like to do a lot of different things, but
Yeah,
I went to CrossFit on my due date, and I, like, had a great workout, and so one of my postpartum goals is to just get back in there and see
yeah.
what's up.
Well, fitness is supposed to be fun, and you should have fun doing whatever types like, I go to hot Pilates, I go to reformer Pilates, I'll go to, like, I go to Lifetime, so I go to, like, their GTX running, like, HIIT classes, like, I do yoga, like, I do whatever feels good for my body, and I'm knock on wood, like, I haven't been injured in a long time, so
Yeah,
feels pretty
I think
good.
there's something to be said about the variety of the forces that you put on your body, like,
Mhm.
even when I was going to CrossFit regularly, regular for me was, like, maybe 2 days a week, and then the other 2 days I was running, and then the other 2 days I was going to see a personal trainer, so or going to Pure Barre or going to Pilates,
Yeah,
and I feel like I mean, same as you, other than some of the complications or, like, irritations with pregnancy, knock on wood, haven't really
yeah.
hadn't had any injuries in a really long time, so
And
I
it's
think
nothing
that's
to be
cool.
said about, like, CrossFit in general. It's
Oh, yeah.
just, like, I'm a competitive person, and, like, my personality and CrossFit don't go together. Like,
Are you
I
competitive with yourself or with other people?
both.
Okay.
Yeah, both. Like, for me, if I'm by myself, I can raw dog it. Like, I can be sluggish, but, like, I would say in the competitive environment, like, I'm RXing the shit out of that workout,
Yeah.
whether my body wants to or not, like, 100%, like, nobody's gonna you know what I mean? Like, I just grew up an athlete, so, like, I've had that mentality forever, and, like, it's not that I've CrossFit equals injury, but it's like I was not good at mobility. I was not good at recovery. I was training 2 hours a day, like, 6 days a week. Like, that's just 'cause I was feeling good. Also, I was in PT school at the time, and I had nothing else to do, so
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's nothing inherently wrong with
yeah.
CrossFit. It's just that load for 6 days
All
a
the
week, if
time.
over
Yeah.
yeah, over time, not really a great recovery regimen built in there. It can be tough,
Yeah.
but I still do love it. I love the competitive aspect. I
Yes.
still think it's some of the hardest stuff I've ever done.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kills
absolutely,
me every single time.
and every time, like, there's something amazing about a woman snatching 150 pounds over her head. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
Mhm.
slay. Like, I
Yeah.
love that. Could I do that still? Probably not. I could probably snatch, like, maybe, like, 85 right now, like, if I just cold raw dog it, but, like, no.
Oh, we are dissimilar
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I would scale everything just for fear of getting injured, I think so. My
yeah,
max was, like, 65 pounds. I was like,
yeah,
"Okay, that's good."
yeah, we're good. No, they're such good workouts, and, I'm looking forward to High Rocks. If you wanna come out to Phoenix, you should do it. It's at the end of
Yeah.
January. You got time.
I think I wanna do the Chicago one. That's, like, my favorite city, so I think I'll
Oh, wait,
find
it's in 2 weeks.
then I guess not. Wait, maybe next year. Next
Nice.
year, Chicago, yes.
Yeah.
I had planned
Okay.
for this year, and then I was like, "No, I'll be postpartum." Like, that's probably not gonna happen. Talk to me about content creation. You have a pretty good following online. Has
Mm.
that been something that gradually grew, or did you see a big push in your followers, like, in a short span of time? Time for a quick little ad break so I can talk to you about my favorite clinical management software, Jane. Not only does Jane help me complete billing, documentation, patient scheduling, run reports, and everything else in between, they now offer an AI scribe to help me take my notes while I'm with my patients. Now, with AI Scribe, it's as easy as editing the template to make the note sound like I want it to sound, and then AI basically does the rest. So I can be super present with my patients, and then my notes are basically done for me at the end of the day. All I have to do is review them, and then we're good to go. So it has taken my note taking time from, I'd say, an hour a day to more like 10 minutes a day. Absolutely incredible stuff. But what's even more incredible is the fact that you can get a 2-month grace period with my code Ronnie PT2MO. That's all caps RONIPT, the number 2, capital M, capital O.
Yeah, so 2022, I started off my Instagram, and I was just posting every single day. I was just yapping to anybody that wanted to listen, and it grew, right before Thanksgiving in 2022. I had one reel that just went viral. It got, like, 7 million views, and my Instagram went from, like, 5,000 followers to, like, 40,000, like, real quick.
I love when that happens.
Yep, and it was the people that I needed to talk to. Like, it wasn't, fake following, it wasn't, like, random people. It was literally, like, women that needed help because the viral reel was talking about bladder problems, and I was like, "This is perfect." Like, it wasn't, like, a lifestyle reel, like, it was literally all the things that I talk about all the time, and then ever since then, it's just been kind of a slow grow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that the main way that people follow you or not follow you, but find you for your business?
That I would say less that now. I don't have a lot of reels that go viral mainly because I'm just busy. I don't put a lot of time into my content anymore. Like, it looks like it, but, like, on the back end, I'm like, "Ugh, I'm tired. I'm tired of doing it." Like, it's a lot of work, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of shifting my content to a little bit more lifestyle. I have a business page that posts a lot of pelvic floor stuff, which I'll keep posting over there, but I'm just kind of like shifting a little bit. My life is shifting. I have a lot of different interests, and so I wanna showcase that, and so now people follow me for that. They follow me from a lot of recommendations. Like, I do a lot of networking, so a lot of doctors, a lot of other providers, like, refer me. I show up in, like, people's courses, like, I'll go do a guest lecture. So sometimes those people that are taking courses or whatever, they'll find me through pages. Podcasts, I love podcasting, being guests on podcasts, YouTube videos, like, I've and then I'm on Pinterest too, so people find me from, like, all types of things, and then they come follow me, and usually I follow up with people that follow me, so I'm like, "Hey, where'd you find me?" Because I wanna know where
Yeah.
I should put all my eggs in my baskets, right? So
Okay, wait. Hold up. Talk to me about Pinterest because I just had do you know Danny Shapiro? He's the guy who's always, like, ballroom dancing on
y
his in
I
his
don't.
videos.
I
Okay,
don't.
he's a PT. I found him, I think, probably because I also am dancing in my videos, and he
Yeah.
He's really funny, but
I love
he's
that.
got a pretty decent following, and he was telling me he gets, like, millions of impressions on Pinterest, and that
Yeah.
just shocked me because I am someone who I look at Pinterest, like, twice a year when I'm trying to decorate a house or, like, a room in the house.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what's going on there?
Yeah, I love Pinterest. It's one of my, avenues. I have a brick. Have you heard of brick?
No.
Brick is like a thing that blocks your social media apps, and so I block all of my apps for the most part, like, during the day, at night, because I don't wanna scroll, like, I cannot do that anymore, and so Pinterest is my new scrolling thing, and it has been for months now. And I love it because it gives you the taste of, like, everything. Like, I look at recipes, I look at decorating a room, I look at quotes, I look at, like, blogs, like, it's just like the original it's the OG scroll, right? Like, I love it because I can, like, look at because right now we just got a new house, and so we're moving in a month. So I'm like, "Oh, I'm replanning everything." I'm like, "My bedroom, my whatever." So I got that. You can look at recipes. Like, I just love it itself as a platform. It's the OG of scrolling, right? Like, I still have my Pinterest from, like, junior year of high school. I remember
Sure.
specifically in my science class pinning all of the shit in my pins. And so, I utilize it because it's good for my niche. My avatar is on Pinterest, right? Like, women, like, moms, like, they're looking for recipes, whatever, and I'm trying to stop their scroll talking about pelvic floor stuff. So for me, it makes sense because my niche is on there. And I have a, like, person that's on my team who kind of, like, makes pins, and she pins it back to my page and my YouTube page, and, she'll go to my blog, she'll go to, like, my website, like, book a call with me, like so she on the back end, there's, like, strategy behind it, but
Yeah.
as far as the pins go, yeah, it's like it's fair game, like, she posts about, "Girl, stop squeezing your guts," like,
Yeah, yeah.
"Here's how you do core exercises," like, those are the types of pins that are on there,
That's so cool. Do you remember Tumblr?
Yes.
I've been wanting Tumblr to come back. We're just I mean, on the topic of, apps that have been around for a
Do
while,
you remember
you've just made
Vine?
me. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, Vine was it.
Okay, I learned something today about Pinterest. That's
Get on
cool.
Pinterest, yeah.
I do feel like there are almost too many avenues that you could go down. I mean, there's Threads, there's YouTube, there's Facebook, there's TikTok, there's Instagram, there's
Oh my gosh, so many
podcasts.
platforms.
Yeah, there's too many platforms. It's hard sometimes to feel like you are doing enough on all of them and also just figuring out, like, which ones you wanna put more time and effort into.
Well,
Um,
also too, like, not every avenue is going to bring you business, like, people don't do business on, like, Instagram or I mean, TikTok. Like, for me, like, it's not really my platform. Like, I get on it because it's just, like, fun and, like, my TikTok is, like, laughing, like, I'm there to enjoy it. Like, my Instagram, I feel like I'm just being sold to 24/7. Like, it's kind of annoying, so I don't really scroll a lot of Instagram anymore. But, like, you have to pick and choose where you wanna get your clients or, like, the people that you're trying to educate because, like, not every platform is different. Like, YouTube, I'm pouring a lot of energy into YouTube right now because, like, it's evergreen. Like, YouTube's always gonna be around. It's the 2nd largest search engine behind Google. Like, so it makes sense for people to that have a business to be on YouTube. Like, it just does.
yeah, I
So,
agree.
X, like, I'm like, "Eh, Threads, nah." Like, I tried Threads and I'm like, I cannot do that." Like, every day, like, "Nope, I'm done." I shut it down.
Yeah, I think it's a good what did you call the app that blocks your scrolling?
Brick,
Brick. I
brick.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
so
have
good.
I have all my notifications off, but that doesn't stop me from opening up the app and checking it, which I probably do too much of.
I do that a lot. Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
just block it. And then the brick is it's literally like a thing that you have to, like, tap your phone on, and then it, like, locks it. So and then the brick is on my fridge.
It's a
So, like, I
literal
have to
brick.
literally get up and go unbrick my phone to scroll. I'm like, "Courtney, come on. Like, we're not doing that.
I
Get
like
back to
that
work."
idea. I've been influenced. I'm gonna go get a
Yeah.
brick.
It's nice because I turn it on at, like, 7 or 8 at night, and then I go to bed.
Yeah, that's my hard and fast rule, 8:30 PM to 8:30 AM, I can't check anything,
That's a good rule.
which is a pretty it works out pretty well for me,
Yeah.
unless it's, late at night and I'm trying
Bored.
to, like I don't know. Yeah, check an email or something.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Just one last thing on the topic of like apps that you're trying to use to stop scrolling. I also, because I spend a lot of time breastfeeding right now on the couch, I downloaded a quick math app because I realized I was like, I suck at quick math. Like, I can't
That's so fun.
multiply and divide.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really call it fun, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely getting better at, I'm like on level intermediate now instead of easy.
Well, that's like a creative app though, like, you're actually using your brain, you're not rotting it, you know?
Exactly. I feel like I should know basic mathematical things without having to pull out my calculator every single time. And I just got
Mhm.
tired of not knowing math. My husband's an engineer and he was quicker at it. So I'm going to be better than him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. So, what would you tell people that are trying to get into the content creation space? Because I have a good amount of listeners or even just like followers on Instagram that are inspired by either like what I did joining a personal
Yeah.
training gym and like starting my own business or even just like the content creation side of my business. Uh, but it's a wild world out there and I feel like there's a lot of content and it's kind of hard to separate yourself. So, yeah, what
Mhm.
would you say to those people and just how you got started?
Yeah, so my biggest thing was it's so stupid, but it's just being consistent. You know what I mean? Like, gosh, like, every day. Yeah, you gotta show up, but you gotta do it every day, like and when you're getting started, reps count because, like, you're gonna know what works and what doesn't work, but if you only post, like, once a week and it flops every week, like, first of all, the algorithm doesn't like you because you post once a week, you're not spending much time on the app. Second, the more you post, the more your content's going to get out there, right? And then when people come to your page and you post once a week, like, they're not gonna follow you because you're not even posting content. You have, like, 5 posts. Like, you know the people that follow you, and even if you do know them in real life and, like, they have 5 posts, you're like, "Eh, am I gonna follow you back?" Like, you don't even post. Like, is it worth a follow? Like, am I
Right,
gonna up
right.
my follower account because you have 5 posts? Like, people have that mentality. So if, like, you don't have a lot of posts, people have nothing to follow. So, like, you need content for people to follow, and there needs to be some type of, like, general, like, I don't know, love about, like, aesthetic or, like, love or, like, trend about what you're doing. Like, when I found you, like, you were at your personal training gym and you were, like, twirling and, like, "Let me show you how to activate your glutes," or something, and I was like, "This girl, like, this is so fun and creative," right? Like, you have to stand out to some extent. You have to, like, make noise in a way that, like, is different from what everybody else does. Like, if you're just laying on a mat and doing, like, ab exercises, like, I'm probably gonna scroll right by you because I'm sick of seeing people laying on a mat doing ab exercises, right? But if you catch my attention and you tell a story, I'm gonna listen. 'Cause
Mm,
'cause people are on Instagram that wanna be entertained. People aren't on Instagram people do business on Instagram, but for the most part, most of the population is brain rotting on Instagram. They wanna be entertained, they wanna just, like, check out from their day. Their kids are screaming in the background, like, they're done for the work for the day, like, they're just there to just scroll, right? So, you gotta be able to stop the scroll, and obviously, entertainment is the best, but sometimes education is good too. People do wanna be educated on Instagram. I feel like Instagram is, like, my new, like, encyclopedia. I'll, like, go and, like, research on there, and I'm like, "What do people have to say?" Right?
yeah,
Um, but it's also your new website. So, like, think about when you're building your brand or you're building a new company that you have, like, people are going to check your Instagram. Like, I find a lot of the people that I work with, like, when I moved to Phoenix, I was like, "Okay, I need a new nail person, I need a new hair person, I need a new facials." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm going on Instagram." I'm like, "Facial or esthetician, Scottsdale, Arizona." And if you got a good Instagram and you make good content and you educate me and you have a good platform, I'm probably gonna do business with you, right? So I would always say that, like, make it like a professional Instagram, or I mean, a professional Instagram that, like, reflects your website because people
yeah,
are going to check it. They wanna
yeah.
see that you're real, right? They wanna see how often you're posting, and they wanna see, like, what you're about. Do you have a personality? Like, are they gonna vibe with you? Because I feel like everybody's about the vibe check anymore too, right?
100%.
Especially, like, Gen Zs and millennials, like, we grew up in the social media area. The boomers they're on their way out, kind of, but
They're not looking me up on Instagram. They haven't figured out how.
no, they're looking you up on Google, okay?
Yeah.
So, if we're not going to that population, we don't need them. But your Instagram, who you're going to be talking to for the next 10, 15, 20 years as a business owner, you gotta be on social media and you got to be consistent.
Yeah, and you gotta be about it too. Like, you can say Yeah, I wanna start on Instagram, like, "Oh, I just wish I had a following," but, like, if unless you really want to and really care, you're not gonna put the time into it, and I think people
No.
underestimate how much time you do need to put in on the front end before you see any type of return on your investment. Like, I posted for years with little
Same.
to no like, my mom would like it and text me and be like, "Hey, love your video," and I'm like, "Thanks, mom," but, I mean, that goes on for a long time
Yeah.
until you get enough of a bank of content to where people look at the page and go, "Oh, this is something that she does."
Mhm.
Otherwise, yeah, to your point, if it's once a week and you're just laying there doing a TA activation, people are
Yeah.
gonna be like, "Yeah, yeah, I've seen that 100 times."
Cool. Yeah. And the
Mhm.
other thing too is, like, you wanna build a brand, and, like, a brand that, sure, is a company, is a business, like, that is one thing, but you also need to think about, like, deciphering yourself from just being an influencer, because everyone's following influencers, and, like, when you have a business, like you and I, like, my Instagram is my business. I'm not an influencer. Like, people are like, "Oh, you're such an influencer," and I'm like, "This is my freaking business." Like,
Mhm.
what I post brings me clients and brings
Yes.
money in my bank. Like, I don't just post outfit changes, and nothing is wrong with this. I'm not saying anything's wrong with this. I don't just post my outfits and expect people to go to my Like to Know It and buy these. I'm not forcing people to pay money on things that they don't need. I'm forcing people to wake up and realize that they need some type of help for their issue, and they get better and they can live their life in a better manner. So, I think that's also another thing to point out. It's like, treat it like a business. Don't just be like, "Oh, it's just influencers are posting on social media." It's like, no, like, your business is social media. Like, you have to treat it like that. Like, even though you don't like content, okay, freaking hire someone that's gonna help you with it. And if you can't hire someone, then suck it up. Do it. You have to do it. We all
Mhm.
had to.
Yeah, yeah, and if it's not for you and you don't wanna be on camera and you don't wanna talk to the camera or do a voiceover or whatever, then just don't make that be part of your business. Like, I have talked to plenty of people that have successful clinics, in-person clinics,
Yeah.
and they're doing just fine, and they don't really post on Instagram, but yeah, if
Yeah.
you want the online world to be part of your business,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
And
really
there's, like,
great point.
another thing is, like, it's fun. Like, it's fun for the
I
people that
like it.
like to do online content. Like, there's so many cool opportunities that come your way when you
Yeah.
do online content. Like, you're opening up way more doors.
You wouldn't even be on this podcast if I hadn't found your page,
Yeah.
asked you to come on the podcast, then I'm coming on yours, which brings
Mhm.
me to my next question. When
Yeah.
did you get started with the podcast? Like, what got you interested in
Yeah.
that world?
So, I just started it in August, so I think, like, I just hit, like, the 2-month mark, which is so
Mhm.
exciting. Um, and I everyone always, like, told me for so long, they're like, "You need to start a podcast," because I'm a big educator and I just like yapping, you know? Like, I'm a long form content person at heart. Like, I'm not short form. Like, I cannot make a 3-minute reel to save my life. Like, do you know how many times I have to stop and edit a 3-minute reel to get it into 3 minutes? And it's always at 3 minutes. Like, it's never 2 minutes or whatever. I'm just, like, someone that likes to talk, and, I want people to be educated. And so there it came from that idea, and it also came from the inspiration of, I'm curious. I wanna know more. I want to interview people. I want to bring people on my podcast that just, like, have a cool story, like, that did something and I was helping somebody else, right? They're making impact in some way or shape or form. And the idea of my podcast is, it's called The Female Blueprint. It's not because I'm telling you to live this certain way, but it's because I'm telling you to rewrite your own story. Because the way that I came to, pelvic health, and the way I came to an online business, and I was a first generation college student, first entrepreneur in literally my entire family lineage. Like, I created that for myself by surrounding myself with different mentors and mindsets and, personal development and all of this stuff. And it's like, if I hadn't gone out and seeked that knowledge and took what I wanted from all these different people to create the lifestyle that I wanted, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be doing all of these things. And so the evolution of my podcast came from my own personal journey and my own personal life. And it's like, okay, screw whatever else you've been told in your whole life. If you don't want to live that way, you don't have to live that way. Here's here's so many episodes of people that are rewriting the way they live life or the way they treat somebody. Like, I just did a podcast 2 hours ago on my podcast with a reproductive endocrinologist about fertility health. And everybody talks about infertility, but no one's talking about fertility, like surrogacy and egg freezing. And I'm like, this is so fascinating. I'm like, I want to learn, right? I'm curious, but also it's like, okay, women listening, these are your options. Like, now take these options and do what you want. Go live the lifestyle that you want. Like, so I really love that. It came from kind of the idea of like, I just want people to be well and I want people to be educated and I want people to make their own decisions and not have to like live this lifestyle that like because their mom told them to live this way or their grandma told them to live this way. So that's where it really started.
Did you have a specific moment in time or period in your life where you realized that it doesn't have to be kinda everything that has been set out for you, like, just the way that your family did? I mean, did you have a turning point, I guess?
Yeah, I think it really came back down to like leaving my childhood like area. Like I was born in Sioux City, Iowa, and all of my family is in Sioux City, Iowa, and I was the first person to actually move away and go to the University of Iowa for college, and it was kind of like I was like, "All right, I'm doing this." Like I kind of had this like I said, I have this kind of like free soul, free spirit where I'm like, "I'm going to go do my own thing." Like if I fail, I freaking fail, whatever, you know? And so I think when I left that, I was like, okay, we're doing this. 4 years away from like 4 hours away from home, whatever. And I started like growing my independence then. And then I think it was PT school. I didn't get in the first round of PT school, which is like funny to look back on because at the time it was like devastating. I was like, wait, God, why? You know? And I had this gap year. And in this gap year, I moved to a new city all by myself. I didn't even move home. I left University of Iowa and I moved to Omaha, Nebraska by myself. And I was like, I need a new job. I need a job that's going to give me PT hours and experience to get me into PT school. And I think during that gap year was when I was like, okay, I have to do this. I have to do this on my own. Like nobody like I just got rejected from the one thing that I just spent the last 4 years preparing my whole life for, right? And it's funny because I only applied for, like, a couple schools, and I'm like, "I'm only going to the University of Iowa for school. Like, I'm not leaving this town." And God was like, "Psych, you're moving to Missouri. That's where you're gonna get into school," which is like, God is so good. But I just look back in that gap year, and I think that was probably the pivotal moment where I was like, "You have to do this. Like, it's now or never. Like, suck it up and kind of figure it out." And just a lot of personal development kind of started within that year. I was listening to books and reading podcasts, listening to books.
You can read podcasts, you can read the script.
Yeah. Podcasts and books and mentoring, and I worked 2 jobs, and I was I was always doing I was doing as much as I could to just, like, be a sponge to learn how to, like, just set myself up, and that's kinda when I was like, "Alright, I'm not doing what everybody else is doing. I'm not gonna move home, and I'm not gonna do this because everybody else did." I'm like, "I'm gonna make it work." And now we're here, and I literally would have never imagined being here.
Yeah, I'm sensing a theme with these guests that I bring on because I have a lot of entrepreneurs, people that like went to PT school or chiropractor school or whatever, some type of healthcare professional for the most part, who had some sort of a plan, like thought that they were going to go somewhere in life. And then things either got chaotic or an opportunity came up where they were forced to sort of self reflect and reinvent. And that's always where like all the goodness comes from, that these people have created lives for themselves that they just never could have fathomed. And it's funny, I was doing a episode earlier today, and I asked the guy, like, "What would you tell your younger self?" And he said, "Don't have a 5-year plan or don't try and follow your 5-year plan because you're gonna be amazed at what will just come your way, and you really can't prepare for it." So, I think that's
Mhm.
pretty cool for you.
Yeah. 100%. And I love hearing other people's stories too because I'm always like, "Oh, I see myself in that story." Like that's and I feel like a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we're entrepreneurs for reasons. Like I feel you don't just wake up out the womb and you're like, "I'm an entrepreneur." Maybe some people, I don't know. But like I feel like there's always a pivotal point for most of us and we all resonate and we all want the same things for ourselves and our families and our lives and it's just really cool to be able to have the autonomy to be able to do whatever you want to do and create whatever you want and anybody listening to this is like It's possible for anybody. Like, when I say and, like, even probably you're probably like, "I never imagined a million years that my business would be successful, or I'd be doing this, or I'd have a
I
podcast." Like,
never wanted to work for myself. Yeah,
you
no.
know? Never. I'm like, "No, I'm not owning a clinic. I'm not owning a business." And
You were
now
smart.
business is the only thing I wanna do. I'm like, "I love
Same.
business. Business
Yeah.
is me." Like, and
Yeah.
it was never meant to be that way, and it's just funny how life evolves.
Yeah. Yep, and you can evolve too, like, it doesn't have to be this straight and narrow path. I do think, especially in PT, it's been a while since I've been in the outpatient clinic, but I would see people in the same position that they'd been in for years and years, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, like, they probably liked being there if they were there for 10, 15, 20 years, but it's okay if that's not you. Like, it's okay to reinvent and, like, keep changing. I mean, to your point, like, you have lots of interests, you wanna try lots of different things. That's
Yeah.
why I started a podcast because same, love the long form content, and I love good conversations.
And it's personal growth, like, it's cool to be able to be like, "Oh, I like, that serves me," and then, "Oh, that doesn't serve me anymore," and, like, that's the beauty of personal development too, it's like, you're allowed to change, and you're allowed to just kind of evolve and be like, "Well, I don't wanna do that anymore," and for myself, like, physical therapy, like, I'm kind of growing out of it, you know, like, I love it, but I'm not treating as much I'm not taking on any new patients, I have PTs that work for me or work with us, and, um they're treating people now, like, I kind of have other interests and focus that I need to be focusing on because I've grown, right? Like, and it's cool to be able to do that and say that and just be like, "Yeah, I'm proud of that." Like, PT has got me here, but it's not where God is taking me next, you know?
Yeah. So then what is next for you?
Business acquisitions and helping people, um I love that I built a business, but I would never build another one. I will say that. I like the idea of buying existing businesses and scaling them and improving their marketing, their social media marketing, all of that. I feel like that's where I'm good. And I just like the idea of being a multi passionate entrepreneur that can kind of go and do those things. So I have a couple partners, and one of them is actually a PA at an OBGYN office. And her and I are looking at buying some OBGYN clinics and
Oh.
getting to the top of the chain to be able to help with more conservative treatment options for women.
I was gonna say,
'Cause I
think of
r
how educated those providers could be if you were in the mix.
Mhm, and I know
Mhm.
that it's medicine and it's medications and it's surgeries and that brings in money, but there it has to start somewhere, like, we can't live the rest of eternity with big pharma and surgical procedures just being the number one recommendation for people, so I think it starts there, and I have other interests too, like med spas and things like that, but I'll always have a women's health business. I just wanna help women more widely. So even if I own a med spa, yeah, a pelvic health clinic within it, like, I just wanna build it so it's, like, can be a one-stop wellness center.
I love that.
Mhm.
Plus your podcast, you know, like you have
Yeah.
and your content creation.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes to, like, find time in the day for all the things that you wanna do,
It's
but
so hard.
you're gonna
Yeah.
do great things.
Yeah. Thank
Very
you
cool.
so much. This is
Yeah, you're so
awesome.
welcome.
Yeah.
Before we finish, and I feel like we kinda touched on it a little bit, but if you could go back to you graduated in 2020, go back to your PT school self and just give yourself one piece of advice or tell yourself something, what would you say?
It's not that serious. I in PT school, I put an ungodly amount of pressure on myself to get a 4.0, and I did. I did graduate with a 4.0, and I was so proud of that. But looking back, it was one of the most worst times of my life. Like, I put so much pressure on myself. I overtrained, I underslept, I underfueled, I was stressed out of my mind, I was taking Adderall, like, because I have ADHD at times. I feel like it's only gotten worse as a business owner. But, I was just a person and a version of myself that I didn't like, my mental health was shit, and I'm like, "For a 4.0?" Like, I already made it. I already
Yeah.
made it to the destination.
Yeah,
Like,
no
why
employer is gonna be asking you, like, "What was your GPA in PTA school or PT school?"
Exactly, but I
Yeah.
think it was a redemption of undergrad and that gap year Remember when I said it was that pivotal point where I was like, "You're gonna do it, and you're gonna go hard, and you're gonna be good." And I think I put too much pressure on myself to be the best and be so good, and my grades were so good, and I'm like, "Fuck it, I coulda got a C. I coulda got a B. I could've whatever." Like, I coulda graduate like, they only kick you out if you get a D. Like, I
You're
just don't get a
fail.
D, Courtney. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
so yeah, looking back, just like, it's not that serious, and I already arrived at the destination, so if I c that would be number 1.
good. I think probably a lot of people need to hear that, whether you're in PT school or not, like, end of the day, life isn't that
Yeah.
serious, so
It's just there's too much pressure, and as a business owner, I still kinda sometimes carry that pressure, um, to do well and be good and be the best, but at the end of the day, it's like, at the expense of this mentality is, like, it's not good, so
Yeah, I
we're in a
mean,
much better spot.
pressure makes diamonds, right? Like, I think a
Yes.
certain amount of it is healthy to be
Yes.
successful as a business owner because if you're not pressuring yourself and competitive internally, probably nothing's gonna go anywhere, but yeah, when you reach the point where you're sacrificing, like, mental, physical health, then you gotta kinda take a zoom out and be like, "Okay, wait, actually, it's not that serious."
Totally.
Like, zoom out,
Right.
we're still on a rock, like, it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I
That's
love
good.
it. That's a good closing, like, it's not
Yeah.
that serious, but thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming on.
Yeah.
I look forward to visiting you on your podcast,
Yes. Absolutely.
and yeah, drop your socials. I'll drop them in the show notes too, but just for anybody that's looking for you, where can they
Yeah.
find you?
So my Instagram is the female athlete doc, DOC at the end. And then my YouTube is Dr. Courtney Johnson. And I mean, that's my pretty much my handles for everywhere. But I like I said, I'm pouring into Instagram and YouTube, so follow me there.
And Pinterest.
And Pinterest. Don't forget about Pinterest.
Don't forget about Pinterest. Thank you so much.
Thank you.